Hello everyone, it's Teresa here from South East London, and this afternoon I have a little bit of a treat for all sew-nuppers. I have a visitor, and it's someone all you Facebook people know, all my subscribers. It's Glenn Leader. Now I know that some of you have had communication with Glenn. He's insistent that he doesn't want to be photographed or videoed, so I'm going to put this here. You can focus on that. It's my little table train, and that's instead of Glenn. Okay, Glenn?
It's got a better face than I have.
And as you can hear, Glenn is also from South East London.
I am.
So I'm not sure whether to apologise to all our friends in Australia, America, all over the world, because now you have a pair of us presenting this afternoon with the same estuary accent, I'm afraid. So do bear with us.
Would it help if I called myself Bruce?
No, Glenn. Now, Glenn and I have known each other for a while, haven't we?
We have, yes.
And for all you regulars, Glenn is the person that supplies some of the fabric. And if you remember, we have done some work where Glenn has rescued fabric from a skip outside a shop in his local high street in South East London. Now, he's in front of me, and I always doubted the story of this skip when he appears here, and he had this great big bag. Well, I showed it on one of the videos. This great big bag of fantastic curtaining. Right, Glenn, I'm challenging you now. Well, not challenging you, that's the wrong word, but I'm asking you now, face to face. Don't look at me. You can look at the screen. Look at the train. No, I don't want you looking at me.
Look at the train.
You look at the train. Yeah.
On the screen.
Yeah, on the screen, and that's better, because I'm going to blatantly ask you now, where did you get that fabric from?
As I told you, from the curtain shop at the bottom of my local high street.
Right.
And they were being thrown out, and I said, no.
How many no's?
No.
Oh, you just added a few more there.
I did I like to exaggerate.
So, but not only did this happen once, it happened twice.
Well, the second time the bag was actually outside the shop, and then it said, please take me, and I said, okie doke. Don't like to refuse a lady, so I took it.
Oh, that's brilliant. And well, I'm going to ask you, out of all the projects and the videos that I have done, could you please number the video and name the video, the one where I use that fabric? Oh, now be very careful here, because you are in my flat. I'm looking at hot coffee and a stapler.
I'm looking at the front door.
So if you can't answer that, may I suggest you lie?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Video 27.
That's the one. That does.
36.
Frame what? Frame 30 what?
I've been framed many a time.
I'm sure you have.
Frame 27, 49.
Oh, that's good. That's good, because I don't know what they were used for
either.
either. Yeah, no, don't do that. See, I've got control here of the camera, and I can switch it off at any time. So yeah, they wouldn't know, would they? No, because say, "Oh, Glenn's just gone now. Bye, Glenn."
Might be a blue blood stain on the floor.
Yeah. Oh no, don't say that. I might have to edit that bit. Anyway, you may be wondering why Glenn is in my flat causing chaos. Glenn, as you know, lives up the road, not too far, and we bumped into each other recently, and he said about my video with the pylon.
I did.
Yeah.
I'd rather like that.
And so one thing led to another, but through the Facebook group, as you Facebookers will know, he has set me a challenge. Now he sort of, well, you describe it.
Okay, what I have here for you is something from my childhood. I can't know, here we go. See if I can get it on the screen, there we go.
Well, please, it's not you dead goldfish.
Try.
I'm sorry.
Why
I'm sorry about that.
Why did you bring up Bob?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that you're traumatised by that from 50 years ago. I do apologise. Apologise to all you goldfish lovers. Right, sorry.
What we have here is some Meccano, what we call Meccano in the UK. It's called other names around the world.
And this is authentic Meccano.
This is authentic vintage Meccano from my childhood.
Sorry, look at this. Can you see all this? Look at that.
I was trying to line it up, but because it's at a crooked angle.
No, I'm looking at the shadow.
Oh, a shadow.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Right. So can everybody see what I'm looking at here? The shadow that is casting. Right, yeah, carry on, because I don't know quite where this is going yet. But oh, look, unless you're moving it,
the shadow changes because I'm changing the angle.
Great design.
Twisted slightly.
Yeah, I like that. Great potential for design.
So this type of construction toy is well over 100 years old. The actual original designs.
Really?
And the guy that invented it, I think his name was Hornby,
did the train sets?
He did the train sets as well. Very smart man. He noticed.
Meanie, yes.
Mind you, he noticed that when he was looking at a bridge being built, he noticed that it came in components, in modules, and all the modules contain beams similar to this. They're all interchangeable. So he went away and thought about it. I thought, I wonder if I can miniaturise that, and he did, and made lots of interchangeable parts for all the holes along there.
Okay.
All the same distance apart. They're all the same size, and you could lay one that way, and then you can lay another one that way, and the holes will all line up. And you can make all sorts of amazing toys out of this. Now, I was using, although I had this as a child, in the 1980s, I actually used these as a teaching aid.
Did you? How did you do that?
I used, not this particular one, but the other bits that I've given away to somebody.
No, just explain that Glenn isn't an art teacher. Glenn is into science, aren't you, Glenn?
I am.
So you did this.
Technology.
You did this in the science and technology department.
Yes.
So you were using these, whereas I haven't used these.
No.
But I'm looking at that as an art teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's funny. We're both totally interested, absorbed in that, but coming from different areas.
Yeah, and you as an art teacher would see that as a primary colour.
Yeah.
But as a scientist, yellow is not a primary colour.
Right.
It's replaced by green. The other two primary colours are the same, but in science we use green instead of yellow.
Oh, that's interesting as well. That's interesting. Sorry, I interrupted you
That's
then,
all right.
but just to give a bit of background to you, that is right, isn't it?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I've also taught, and I've been a technician.
So, how did you use this in your science teaching?
I use this to help make specialise is what I'm looking for, equipment where we needed to hold other pieces of equipment that didn't come with where we couldn't buy the original supplies. And so I would use something like this, usually strapped two along, one on the end of each other. It's quite sturdy, and then I can hold equipment that way, and it couldn't be done in any other way. Not quickly. We could have made something, but that would have taken time. But with Meccano, it's very easy for me to bolt something together within minutes, and actually had something that we could demonstrate certain scientific principles.
That is really fascinating. This reminds me of the Moore Street project, the beautiful Moore Street station in Birmingham, sitting there, as many allsewnupers will know, sitting having tea with my daughter and looking up and at the roof, just like that. But a lot of stations are like that in London as well.
Yeah.
But also, you mentioned bridges, didn't you?
I did.
Have you ever been on the river through, was it the Seine? Oh, I can't remember if it was the Seine.
If it's outside London.
going under the bridges, cruising under the bridges in Paris, and a lot of the bridges are sort of like that, and absolutely beautiful. Really,
sort of 2,000-year-old technologies and ideas.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've brought this round for me this afternoon. Yeah. And that was after an invitation from me on Facebook, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
I've accepted your challenge, which you didn't actually name on Facebook, on the group.
No.
So what is your challenge?
challenge
Make it easy.
My challenge to you is this: that you've built something using very, very complicated lines on parlance, for example. And I want to ask you to do something unique using something rather more simple.
Right. As a lot of people will know, sort of artists, crafters and that, even people who are like teaching English, reading, sometimes the simple things are the hardest to do. When you simplify something, it can be really difficult. Yeah. So are you asking me to simplify this? Because to me at the moment it looks very simple anyway.
Yeah.
Right. And is that the remit? Just
no, I don't think necessarily simplify. I think this is simple enough. But if you want to simplify it, by all means, take on that challenge.
Right, just for the sake of argument, while you're sitting there, and if this goes on too long, I'll just edit this out. But oh, look at this! Look at did I say I was an art teacher? Look at the pencils; they're all blunt. Oh, for goodness!
Go back to my car.
Oh my gosh! Oh, hang on a minute. I've got a pen here. I want it. Oh, look. This is shocking, isn't it? Oh. Right, so...
You can edit that out. Nobody knows you.
Yeah. I can just present the finished thing and say, look what I did, and this only took me 20 minutes. How clever am I?
I made this out of a tin can, this Meccano.
Yeah. So the first thing my first reaction is with the holes to actually sew them to a piece of fabric, but this isn't flexible enough to sew between. It would make a really good soft plastic template. Hey, hang on a minute, didn't you tell me earlier, a couple of weeks ago when we bumped into each other, you were going off to a certain shop to get bits for a 3D printer?
Yeah.
So you obviously have 3D printer, which I'm in the process of getting. You could make these.
I could do, yeah, easily.
And if you made them, you could make them flexible enough for sewing templates.
Well, yeah, certainly making out of different materials. But I don't have a 3D printer. I've got 4.
You've got... Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's fascinating. Do you use these 4 printers?
Yes. Actually, I'm actually starting something called a 3D printer farm.
Really?
Yeah, it's a sort of a manufacturing technology. And so my business plan this year is to actually start producing 3D printed materials on demand.
Well, I think that's really excellent.
You can email me the 3D design, they would design, output the final results, email it to me and I'll print it and stick it in the post. Also for my students as well. I've got a number of young students that I want to teach 3D design to.
I was up in Walthamstow sometimes last year between lockdowns at the William Morris house where William Morris grew up. And there was an exhibition on. Now you think of William Morris, one of the leaders of the art and craft movement, and everything had to be handmade, and I won't go into details, but he was forerunner of the art and craft movement and wanted things to be traditional and handmade. The exhibition that was on was 3D printing.
Really?
Really, yeah. And there was a very nice, I think he was Australian, a very nice Australian visitor doing this exhibition, and it's he was doing it for local children in the area, and they were making, I believe they made busts of famous people or busts of something, I can't quite remember, and these were sent out to schools and vulnerable children to paint, and they came back. But the gist of it was, in this beautiful house, which was, and there were things on show that William Morris had used, printing blocks and
that sounds good.
pieces of things like that. It was wonderful. The exhibition was on 3D printing,
That's amazing,
and
isn't it?
yeah, I couldn't quite marry them in my head, and I still can't now, but it was wonderful, you know, and if I didn't live so far I would certainly have gone back again. But yeah, so anyway, the gist of that was I did stand and watch this man with his 3D printer, and it was fascinating. My son also uses a 3D printer, so yeah, it was really good. Really, you would have liked it, I'm quite sure.
I'm sure I would have done.
You could have had a really good conversation.
I presume there's lots of traditional William Morris stuff there anyway.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
was just
yeah.
an add-on exhibition.
Yeah, we were only there, what, I can't remember, two hours, and it wasn't long enough, because there are gardens there as well. But anyone into William Morris who lives near Walthamstow, the art and crafts movement, absolutely fabulous.
That's in East London, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, nice, very nice. And of course, William Morris, the Red House, isn't too far from where we are now.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and would you believe it? I've never been there. I love William Morris. Never been there. The Red House in Bexley Heath. Yeah, but it's on my list. As soon as lockdown, you know, well, it has changed, hasn't it? It's just
Just
in my
very
head.
recently.
In my head, I'm still in lockdown.
Well, that's strange.
Isn't that
it?
odd? Yeah, it really is odd. But anyway, now this is what springs to mind first.
Okay, it's nice and geometric.
Yeah.
It's like you bring paper and a card.
This is reminding me of Sashiko.
Right.
This is reminding me very much of Sashiko, which I'm involved with at the moment, and it will be coming up shortly. But yeah, very, very, and it's Japanese. Some people think it's slow stitch, but it isn't. It looks like slow stitch. So if you can imagine doing the slow stitch all the way round here, that is what it would look like. But Sashiko has rules, and you don't cross the stitches, and the gaps between the stitches must be half the length of the actual stitch. But having said that,
You're an artist. That's a rule, isn't it? You've got to break.
you've got to break the rules.
You've got to break that rule.
Yeah, you have to break the rules. Yeah, see, that needs oh well, Mr. Leader, I accept your challenge.
Good. I look forward to seeing the result.
Yeah, I'm that, as I say, that is the gut reaction. But I would like to line, I think I would try it like line them up like that, although then it would be very repetitive. Oh, you know, this isn't quite as easy as it looks.
Well, it's very simple, isn't it? I think it's half the problem, isn't it?
Right, yeah, so I'll accept your challenge. I actually like this. You see the reflection there? I'm wondering... Now, is this for me?
You can keep it for as long as you need it.
Do you need this back? Because I'm aware it's vintage. It's...
Do you know what? You can have it.
Can I have it? So if I can have it, can I bend it?
It's yours. Do whatever you want. Ah!
Ah, there you go.
I don't want it back now.
There you go.
Do you know what? It's just I used to
Oh,
use
look
these.
at that.
Used to use this as a toy, as a child, not just for the construction, but actually part of my play. So that Action Man would often be seen walking with that on his shoulder. Like
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
But apparently I was told
There.
off by my mother by trying to cut one of these with pinking sheet.
They are. So immediately,
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh, it's me getting in the way.
that is you,
That's
yeah.
my head.
Why are you getting that close to?
I've got such
You're
a big
getting too
head.
close. Move back.
My head's so big. I'm sitting on the sofa. I just lean forward.
You're not sitting on the sofa. I don't do this on my settee. I'm on my craft table.
You are, but I'm not.
No, you're on my table. My coffee table. Oh, I'm not used to having men sitting this close at my computer. So would you mind just keeping a decent 3 foot between us? Thank you. Listen, you just sit out there in the kitchen, okay? And make me a cake while you're out there. Right, so that'd be edited out as well. There's not going to be much left, is there, by the time I've edited everything?
Do you want to do another take? Oh, you bent it, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I've bent that now, so, but I think I know what I'm going to do. Right, so thank you very much, Glenn. Did you want to throw this out? You told me that you might throw this open to...
Yes, I think that'd be a very
Right,
good
I'm
idea.
over to you.
So what I will do is I will provide an image that you can download and put on your printer if you have a printer,
Oh, really? What, on the Facebook group?
on the Facebook group.
Really?
And if you've got a 3D printer, I will send you something called this to your file for you to actually make your own out of plastic.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, so is there anything you want me to tag on to this? Or will you do it all through all sewn up Facebook group?
I'll do it all for the group.
Oh, okay, that's
Hopefully
that's
that's
good. That was a bit of a worry then. The thought of me sitting here, sort of trying to work out how to upload, download.
Do you know, that's just reminded me of
What's that?
that old-fashioned film with the holes down the side and the lines going across the line.
Oh, yeah, with the numbers, the countdown
Yeah.
tape.
Yeah.
See, I've got this such a strong urge here to sew through these holes as well. Yeah, I might use this as a piece of metal in a project that I'm doing, another project that I'm doing. But then my son might see this.
And he'll want it.
He will, won't he? So perhaps I won't show it to him. Anyway, so this is the introduction, and the next part will be me working on this. So thanks a lot, Glenn.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. And can I just put it out there, if anyone else in the area would like to do what Glenn's just done, South East London, Northwest Kent, isn't it? Northwest Kent. That's BR8, SE18ish, are we?
Yeah, BR5.
BR5, at Tunbridge, TN, Maidstone, anywhere around, well, I mentioned Bexley Heath, so anywhere around there, easy travelling, have a station up the road. So if anybody else would like to come and have a chit chat. You didn't make me coffee. Was I supposed to make you coffee?
You was. Nice black coffee.
All right. I'll would you like a fish finger sandwich?
Ooh.
Yeah, was that yeah? I can make you a fish finger sandwich. Bearing in mind I've only got 3 and they were for my dinner. You wouldn't deprive me of fish
I
fingers,
wouldn't
would
like
you?
to see a lady there hungry, so I'll go home before you have your dinner.
Oh, you're a lady. Oh, a lady. Oh, well, you can come again, but not tomorrow. Okay. So, yeah. So if there is anybody out there who would like to do what Glenn's just done, only do it with more style, then please contact me through either Facebook or the email address that goes out with the videos. Okay. So I'm now going to accept Glenn's task. Be nice if others accept it as well. Oh, did we get a prize?
You get to keep the Meccano.
No, that's mine. Even if someone else is better than mine.
You can only have it if it was bent, but it's straight, so you can't have it.
What are you going to do about that?
I didn't think of that.
I'm a teacher.
That's true. It took me a lesson.
Oh yeah, there you go. So, over to our project. You can go now. Yeah, I'm bored now. You can go. Bye. Chaos. But he's gone now. So I spent a little bit of time striking while the iron's hot, so to speak, looking at this, and I just think this is really fabulous. And I've spent time just moving it around and drawing around it, moving it all sorts of different ways. But I've come up with this. Now, it's really simple, and it is just a matter of, let me see if I can line this up. I think it's lined up like this. Just a matter of lining it up, folding it over. Now, I've missed out the line of dots along here, but I've managed to get nice big diamond or square, depending on how you're looking at it here. I missed out this row of dots there, and I've repeated this here, so it's down there, and of course I've put the row of dots, the band in there. Now I like this. As I go along, I will be exaggerating some areas and eliminating like we do, but this is the one that I'm settling with at the moment. I like this because it's showing the contrast of size as well. We have the nice big squares or diamonds here against little ones there. Have the straight lines here against these angles in the centres. Okay, and of course then we have these round dots which totally complement all the angles and the straightness. So I do like this, and I'm going to work with this one. Now, as I said, I did make several of these. There's no need to show them to you all because they're all sketchy. But from this one, I then cut out the pieces that I want. So it's looking like a band at the moment from there. And then I decided, didn't want it all, I only wanted a part of it. So I've now cut out this part, just part here. Now I do like the idea of having two, of having two big diamonds, squares here. I like this one. You see that's a great big one there, a great big one. So we're going back to our design principles now of the contrast of size. So here we have the two big ones there, and inside for contrast we have four small ones. It's like a window, isn't it? A window frame there. Now I'm going to start with these. I'm going to start with two big ones, the four small ones, and then I'm going to do it step by step, because as you all know that this is just the inspiration. That's just the inspiration. So from that inspiration we go to this design template, and then we start exaggerating or eliminating, making bits bigger or smaller, taking some away, adding some. So it might not actually look like this when it finishes, but it's still being inspired by Glenn's Meccano piece. So from here, what I'm going to do is cut out a square. I'm going to cut out a square. I want that one as reference, so I'm popping that away, but I'm going to bring this in here and just carefully cut out this square. Now, I'm not too sure at the moment what fabrics I'm going to use. I have had a look and I've gathered together some blue. I fancy working with blue. Oh look, I haven't got a point there. I have to put that point in. So I'm going to start working with blue, but I need to cut out some squares of this, and then I'm going to cut out the windows like so. So here we have the template now of the windows, or well, I say windows and not windows, but it reminds me of windows, and the four pieces that go in here. I want those. Now I'm going to choose fabric from here, I'm going to use some of this. I'm just going to make this a bit smaller. So watch your eyes. A little bit smaller. So I'm going to sit and spend some time working out how I want to use this. Now when I do, I'm going to back some of it with iron-on interfacing. Now this one's already been backed, so that's handy. Gives it a nice strength, and it makes it nice to cut out as well, cut the shapes out. So that's the next thing. I'm going to choose the fabric, and then I should start cutting out some of my shapes. Right, so I decided on this piece for the background fabric. I'll pop it up that way. This is so strong, I'm not interfacing it. It's a beautiful piece of fabric. I'm not going to interface it because it is lovely and firm. It doesn't need to be stiffened up at all. So that is actually what, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11, almost 12 by 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and a bit. It's 12 by 7 and a bit, and it's just a little bit shorter than the actual Meccano piece. Okay, but that doesn't matter. So I'm going to use that. That's the background. And then I cut out 2 of these in fabric. So if you can see there, I've got one there and the other one goes there. Now these are going to be placed on here and pinned down in place. Now while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, oh, how am I going to stitch these in? So those will go there, and then I cut out the window bits. Ah, there it is. I cut out the windows from the shapes. Those were the bits that went there. So I've cut those out like this. Now those will go there to create the 4 shapes here. You can see 1 2 3 4 on that diamond there, or that square. So there we have the 4 shapes, so 1 2 3 4 to use. Now with these, the pieces that came out of here, I cut out some squares here. I cut these window pieces out. Just let me make that bigger. I cut these out of here, and these will possibly at the moment be used. I might cut them in half and use them like this. Can you see this? These are half. Oh, could I move them up there? No, these are half, these shapes there. So I would need to cut these to fit in there. Okay, the same the other side to cut. At the moment this is what I'm thinking of, but while I'm doing that I've just thought, right, hang on a minute, these are, that one there is a complete square, these aren't, so they're okay to have the half fabric, but that was a complete square and so is that. So I'm wondering now whether I should put a green either side between these. Right, so I'm going to sort that out, and I do apologise about this sore that's on my hand. I keep burning it on the oven and it just isn't healing, so that's a bit of a problem, and I'm really sorry about that. It's horrible. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I'm going to, well, at least I'm going to tack this in place with our long stitches that just go across. Not going to tack all the way around it, and then I might pop a green one there. I'm going to play around, and then as soon as I have something to show you, I'll get back. Actually, that colour is a lot deeper in front of me. Let me just, oh yeah, the light was draining it a little bit. Yeah, don't know if that colour's the right colour, whether I should have cut that in. Maybe, look, and that's already got the zigzags on it. Anyway, I'm going to carry on and we're going to see what happens. This is exciting because I haven't really any idea what it's going to look like. So this is the first part, the groundwork, if you like, and you can see how the shapes here fit in with the grid, with the Meccano there. Just going to move it up and see another shape there. Let me just move that along slightly. Yes, so the shapes are actually fitting in. If I just corrupt it a tiny bit. But anyway, so this is how far I've got. As you can see here, I have put down the obligatory tool or net. I put that down there, and you know I just love working with net because of the depth it adds. So that is there, and I did as I said I was going to do. So all I've done, which I didn't mention, was to add the orange here. I mentioned I would put the green there as well, and I think it's taking on almost a jewel-like effect, and I like this effect. I'm not doing any more tonight. I need to hang it on the wall so I can look at it with fresh eyes tomorrow. I'm just going to turn it around, see if it looks any different that way. No, it doesn't. Now the next thing I need to think about is stitches. How I'm going to secure these pieces, these shapes. Now I'm going to call them applique. How I'm going to apply the applique, what stitches I'm going to use. I'm trying not to move my hand too much because of the shadows, because it's quite late now. So there we are. I don't know whether I'm going to stitch between the pieces, and as you can see there, I'm going to have to straighten some up as I go, but I'm not too bothered about having straight lines and having it perfect, but I might straighten some of these up. The really wonky ones I might straighten up, but still. So no stitching tonight. Have a look in the morning, and then we'll see where to go from here. Okay. I hung it on the wall, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. It reached that scruffy stage without really trying, so that told me something was wrong. Now this has reached the scruffy stage with rearranging and a little bit of planning. And I'm quite pleased with this. Now I have put some lace down. I put the lace down. I took everything off, and I put the lace down here and here, and a little bit of lace here as well. And then I put the black tulle on top of that to shade some areas here. And then I put on all the pieces that I had previously cut out, and now it's more pleasing to the eye, I think. There was just something about it that I just didn't like. I mean, I'm not totally in love with this. It's very formal, it's very rigid, but then using this as an inspiration, I suppose it would be Glenn, you have done my head in with this. Where are you? Where are you? So anyway, I'm just going to sort of line this up, because some of these shapes actually do line up with, if you look here, here and here, it goes a bit wonky donkey down there, and it lines up on most of the, where's that? That's the V, isn't it? So we want the V there. So yeah, they do line up here. So yeah, I don't know if it's actually the colour that I'm not, this colour here. I'm sorry now that I didn't maybe use that colour as the main colour, and maybe have this as the other colour. So for me, I feel this is a bit of a learning curve. It's not how I usually work, as you know. So I'm just intrigued to see what happens and how it will turn out. So there we go. Next thing, and I won't demonstrate the slow stitch because obviously you know how to do that, so I'm not going to demonstrate that now. I'm just going to get on with it. So this actually becomes a short project, just a short design project. Okay, so you might be able to hear that I'm not totally overwhelmed by it, but there you go. Hopefully when I get back I'll have a little bit of excitement in my voice, but at the moment I'm looking at the screen thinking, oh my goodness, you know, and I wonder if it looks any better that way round. Well, no, it doesn't actually. It looks worse. So I'm going off now, and I'm going to spend some time just sewing it and see what happens. Actually, having said that, I could follow that line round, couldn't I? Do some stitching that way, that way, go round these. Doesn't have to be linear. Oh, I said linear, didn't I? Doesn't have to be linear, does it, all the way along? I could actually do the lines that way even. Oh, there's a thought. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit brighter now. Now I think I don't have to do them in straight lines. This must be about 4 minutes after I just finished to start sewing, and it still wasn't settling with me until I spied the net. So I've made a decision. I'm going to shake things up a bit, and I hope, I've put the net down. Now that is staying. I'm not touching anything else now, unless I add something to it. No, I think that might be too dark. So I'm quite happy now. I've added the net, as you can see, the lemon bag net. I've also added a little bit more black tulle here to play down the colours there, and then I've added just a little bit of white tulle around here, and I think now the colours may be blending more together. I think there's more of a composition going on. I'm still not too sure about these pieces here, but we'll see what difference the stitching makes. Does it need something like that? I'm not sure. But anyway, I will start. Oh, I don't know. Oh, maybe it does. Yeah, maybe it does actually. I don't know whether to leave that there. Let's have a look. Oh, it adds a bit of depth, doesn't it? And it takes away the brightness of these colours here, because everything else has been a bit muted, a bit played down now. And oh yeah, I'm going to leave that right, and I'm not touching it anymore now, except to tack it all in place. And I will do as we usually do now, do our tacking all the way down in rows, just clipping every single piece. To tack all the way around this would just be a nightmare. So I'm reckoning on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 rows of tacking stitches or basting all the way down to hold the pieces in place, and then I will start sewing it. Okay, so I'm quite pleased with that now. I think that's taking shape and it's looking better. It's still retaining the original design here, but it's added something. I hope. Unless I've got the wrong glasses on and it's actually taken something away. But as I said, I'm leaving it now, and I'm going to run with it now. I'm going to pick my needle up and run with it. Right, before I start sewing, I realised that I haven't made any nod towards the circles here, which answered one of the problems I have with this. It's too boxy and linear, as I said earlier, so I've cut out a circle. I actually bought a bag of these, and I'm not sure why. At an exhibition I was at, I thought they'd come in useful for something, and they have just now. I've drawn around that. Oh, I didn't think it was going to be seen on the screen, so I've made one in white so you can see it. Now what I'm going to do, as I nod towards these, the little holes there, I am going to place this about, just keep placing them. I did have another one there somewhere, and I'm going to sew around those. Now I don't know if you're going to like that idea. I'm not sure how confusing that's going to be on the eye and the brain, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. I'm going to start here, this corner here, I'll do the first one there and do a circle, and really I'm just going to take it from there. Apart from that, I've no idea which way it's going to go. Well, there's another one there, it's got a needle in it. I've no idea how I'm going to place them, or what's going to happen really, but I will start here, and I'm going to start there now. Now as you can see by looking at this, the pins are still there, so I decided that I wouldn't tack. I'm not basting, I got too excited and I want to start this immediately, so I'm going to work around the pins. But I do advise you do tack, but then it's up to you. So I'm going to carefully put that there, and I will start this on the screen there, and I will make it bigger. Now I'm going to use, I'm just going to make that bigger for you. I'm going to use 3 strands of embroidery floss with a knot in the end, and I'm using my sashiko needle. Now you don't have to use a long needle, it's just that it happens to be in front of me, but a nice needle like this with a large eye and a nice point, not too thick because there are many layers here, so it needs to be fine enough to go through the folds. Something like that will do as well. But you play around with your needles, and you take a needle that suits you. I mean, obviously not that one, great big thing there, that would never go through. So I've got the needle ready, nice length of thread, and I'm just coming in from the back. As I said, I have knotted the thread, and I'm just going to do small stitches all the way round. Now if this was a straight line, I would be able to get several stitches on the needle. That's the best thing about a sashiko needle, you can actually fill it with stitches, but because it's a curve and it's quite thick, I'm a bit limited as to how many stitches I can get on there. So I haven't gained anything by using this rather specialist needle. So a small sharps needle or another type of sewing needle would do, as long as it goes through. Mind you, having said that, this is going right the way through these fabrics. And don't worry, because this is slow stitch, please don't worry about the size, length, whether they're neat or not. It doesn't matter. In slow stitch, it doesn't matter. That is actually part of the charm of slow stitch. If you're doing sashiko or cantha stitch, it's different. The rules are different. But this is slow stitch, so you can vary and add interest with stitches, different thicknesses, different lengths. There's no stress involved in slow stitch, which is actually just running stitch. People get a bit nervous about these titles, about these labels, and it's just running stitch. If you did tacking stitch to get your pieces in, to secure your pieces to the background, then you've just done a big slow stitch, that's all. So where are we? Oh goodness, I'm losing the thread. I thought this would have been a nice colour to be seen, but I'm not sure. I think this colour is blending in too much with the background, but it doesn't matter. I think I might do the circles all different colours. It's going to be so interesting to see how this turns out, because at this stage I have no idea. Right, I'm back to the beginning, so I'm just going to take it. I'm not going to finish that off yet because I might carry on with it. Right, now I'm not sure you can actually see that circle. I'm going to make it a lot bigger. A little bit more. Yes, if I've enlarged it, and you can see it around here. Okay. Right, so I'm going to carry on making my circles all the way over. Now I will probably go through that again, and then I will add some more all the way up, and hopefully secure. Let me just, I'll make that smaller. Right, let's make that smaller there. There we go. So, oh, I'm sorry about the keyboard there. Right, so that's the one I've just done. You can vaguely see that, just vaguely. So I'm going to carry on with that, and then I will do exactly the same as you've just seen until maybe I cover it all with circles, or maybe I don't. So I have used the circle several times, well, probably more than several times. I'm going to make that bigger so you can see it. And if you look very carefully or closely, you can actually see some of the circles around here, and because they've been overlapped all the way down, they've made other little shapes here. Now I do remember doing this before on a cushion cover that we did, a big blue cushion cover, and I'd forgotten about that until I was actually doing it, and I thought, oh, this feels very familiar, and I think it was the cushion cover. But anyway, this is where I've got to at the moment. Now what I'm going to do, or intend to do, is just with another colour, or other colours I should say, just outline some of these in slow stitch, some of these new shapes. I'll outline those, and once again we will see what we get. At the moment I can still see the original design peeping through, so I haven't lost the original design, it's still there, but I think maybe later on the original design will sort of disappear a little bit. That needs to be held down, and so does that. Now what I did do, I changed thread to a blue. This is actually pale blue, so I've used a pale blue and 6 strands, because if we look back up here at the blue, that was 3 strands, and it really doesn't stand out enough. So that was a little bit of a waste of time really, because it doesn't show, it doesn't do anything, and I've actually gone over it a couple of times with the white. So there we are at the moment. I'm going to carry on now and do exactly the same, slow stitch in some of these shapes. Here's the second row, the orange. I think that works really well. Now I think as well that I'm going to have to use strong bright colours on this, otherwise the weaker colours will get lost in the background. I like this jewel effect. I'd like to keep the jewel effect with those colours, but the colours I add need to be very strong, like this, probably like the pink, and maybe some green. Well, I got carried away and practically finished all the surface stitchery that I'm going to do. I've just put our template down here, our Meccano piece, and you can see here how the triangles underneath actually do fit this piece of Meccano. I'll take it up there, see if it works here as well. Yes, if I jiggle that about slightly, you can see it fits along there as well. So I'm quite impressed with that. So I can put that back there, give that back to Glenn. I have put a herringbone stitch all the way around all the pieces. I felt it needed something to highlight or exaggerate the actual pattern of the squares, because without that the squares just merged into the background, and that defeated the object, I think, of actually doing the design. But as soon as I put the black down, it contrasts with the bright colours here, and you can now pick out the shapes. Okay, now I'm just going to recap very quickly on a herringbone stitch, and it is very easy. I know that you all know how to do this, but just in case anybody's new and not too sure. Now I'm doing this on the side again, so I'm going to have to think about how I'm doing this. Right, so knot in the back of your thread, then you're going to cross over like this, bring the thread over like you're going to do a cross stitch, and then you're just going to pick up a tiny piece like this. Keep your needle going that way. There's the first leg, and then you're going to bring it over this way, do exactly the same, keep the needle that way, pick up some fabric, and there's your first stitch, and that's all you're going to do. Now my stitches are all different sizes, different widths, different lengths, because we do this as an art, a textile art, and not needlecraft. We're about texture and contrast, and the contrast is long against small. As you look around here, you'll see some small ones and you'll see some long ones. That's the contrast. Then we've got the wide ones against the narrow ones here. That's the contrast again, and they're all design elements. So if you were doing this for a needlecraft exam, or you're a purist, then you might want to keep your stitches like so, even, the same size, the same length, the same width. Okay, now it's entirely up to you, but those of us who do this as an art don't. There are times when we want to and we need to, but not in our textile art. So please don't get hung up on technique and doing it neatly and worrying about guidelines and whether it's right or wrong. It's your work, it can't be wrong. Okay, so anyway, back to this. So this, for the time being, the surface stitchery on this for the time being is finished. Now the chances are that I probably will touch it up, so to speak, after I've done the next part, if it needs doing. Now I didn't know I had these square sequins. I've had to go through my sequin box, and they're all shapes and sizes, and silver effect and gold effect, but I saw these. I've had to spend about 20 minutes picking these out, and I've gone to that trouble because they are square shapes. We have those with the square missing, and we have the more solid ones here, and the big ones there. Now I'm not sure about the big ones, but the small ones I think I can use in the middle of these squares, just to distinguish them from the background. Now I think that might, oh yes, I like that. Oh yes, I like that. So I will put some of these down. I'm not sure which ones I'll use, the solid ones or these ones. I might do a mixture. The big ones are very big, and I only think perhaps I'd need maybe two in the centre, that one, of these two big shapes here, the one there and the one there. yeah, so I'm going to spend some time playing around with those. At the moment I intend to put a sequin in each of all the squares that you can see here, okay, but as it goes along I might change my mind. And I've put all the sequins on now and I think it's looking quite good. Still not finished, but if I'm just going to move that about, look at all that bling shining. So yeah, I like the look of that, and I think it definitely highlights the large areas here, these 4 here, and I just like that. I still think it's missing something. I'm not sure if it might need beads on it as well, or maybe some more stitches, or maybe even stitches around these. I'm not sure yet, so I'm going to hang it on the wall for a while and have a look, have a cup of tea. So here we have it, it's finished now. I've added the sequins and the beads. Each sequin has been sewn down through the 4 holes. Many of these have got 4 holes, so they've been secured 4 ways. The larger ones have just been secured through 1 hole, but I don't think there's anything else here that I've done. So you can see the larger shapes here, so I still have the 2 large shapes here and here, surrounded by the small ones. I'm just going to get our template again and we'll have a look and just have a look here. Right, so we have the shapes here. I'm not sure about that one there, but I can see the shape there and there, so that's quite good. And let's try here just to see how it works out. Right, let's line it up there. So we've got that one there, yeah, that one there and there, so those line up really well. Let's try up here, that one, yeah, they line up. Doesn't matter if they don't, but it's just interesting to see. There, look, that one, oh, that one's really good, that one's worked out really well. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with this. It took me some time to feel that way because I didn't actually like it at the beginning. As I said earlier on, it did reach the messy, scruffy stage very early, and I thought, oh gosh, I've made a bit of a mistake. But that is finished. Now what I'm going to do, I was going to leave it like this because it was a design challenge, but I'm going to make it up. Now I'm going to make it up into a tiny little folder. So I've chosen some fabric here, and that is the right side, but I actually prefer that side, so I'm calling that the right side here. And I've cut 2 pieces the same size as I have here. Now I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller. Right, so I have 2 pieces of fabric this size, that one, and I have this one, and they're both exactly the same size. Now this one here I've pressed in half, okay, so there's a nice crease there. Now I'm going to put this on the right side of this, which actually I want that as the right side. So the wrong side is the right side because I prefer that. So I'm going to have that as the right side, and then I'm going to pop that on there. Okay, double-sided. I'm going to pop that on there and just loosely pin the sides. Now, and that side. Then I'm going to place this. Now this is the right side, okay? That's going to be the right side. So I'm going back to our design here. Right side. And I'm going to place the right side of this with the pocket this way. So I've got right side to right side. And I'm going to pin that all the way round, but leave just a couple of inches. Now it's going to have to be at the top. Don't want to leave this side, the gap here, for pulling through, because it will weaken the side of the pocket. And for the same reason, I don't want to leave the bottom bit with the gap either, because it could mess up the whole bottom piece. So I will have to leave the gap at the top discreetly. I'll try and be very discreet. Now after I've pinned this all the way round, I'm going to machine sew it. Okay, so this will be machine sewn. I might have to trim that little bit there. Yeah, that needs a little bit of a trim there. So I shall now machine sew this all the way round, but leave the gap round about here, just a couple of inches, say 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 or 4 inches, just one side. Okay, so that way. Now to make sure I don't sew across where I want the gap, I'll just put some pins this way, and then I know that once I get to those pins that are lying that way, I need to stop. I took the pins out as I went round. Now very carefully just snip in or snip off the corners, and that gives it a nice finish when you pull it through. It takes away the bulk and it makes it easier to pull through as well. So let's moment of truth, which is always a bit of a worry. Through the gap. Right, there we go. Right, let's pull the corners out there, and the corner out there. Oh, I thought I saw a pin then. Right, so it's going to be a very small cover. There's the pocket. That will be the pocket. Now I don't know whether to top stitch it or not. I'm not sure if my machine will go through all this. It's quite thick on the edge there now, so I don't think I will. I don't think I will top stitch it with a sewing machine. I'll see how it is after I've taken the corners, pulled the corners out properly, and sewn this up. So the next thing to do is just fold this in, and it naturally folds in on the seam. That will just fold in like that, and then pin it, because it naturally wants to fold where the seam allowance is, in line with the sewing. And I will over sew that by hand, and that's just a little stitch, like a slow stitch, but sideways from one side to the other. And we have done this before. It's quite easy, simple. It'll only take a little while to do that. So this, let's have a look, see how that is looking. Need to, little bits of raggy bits there. So there we are at the moment. That's where we are at the moment. Let's stretch these out a bit. I'll pop that on there and you might see it a bit better. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger now. So next thing, I'm going to over sew it, and then I will press the edges to see if it does need to be over sewn or not. Could even do that with stitchery, some sort of stitchery. And that's in the inside. Ooh, let me line that up for you. That's the inside with the pocket there. Okay, so when that's folded in half, that will have 2 pockets. So there we are. So I'm going to crack on. I'm going to over sew this now, press it and then just see whether it needs, oh, I'm going to pull the corners out as well, and then I'll be able to see what else is needed. Okay, but so far it's so good. She said, crossing her fingers. So what did I do with the finished piece? I made a little junk journal from it. Now I have to be honest, I did have the insides. It was a different size, but I've cut it down to fit this. But I'm just going to show you how it looks here. So you can see here, there we go. There's the finished design, and you can see all the shapes and the two big shapes here. I put a button here, and I've put a little charm in the corner up here. Now inside, just open this up, it is just a regular small, very small journal. I'll just quickly go through it. So this, you might have seen this before. I took this out of another journal. Might have been the Winnie the Pooh journal that it was in. I think it was. So I've just popped that in there, really just to show you that that is a pocket there. And I don't think I'll go through all the pages. It is just like so, like a regular junk journal made up with all bits and pieces, and these were offcuts. That's upside down, so do be careful when you put your pages together. So that is my junk journal, and it all came about through this. So from that to this very small journal, and there's another pocket there, the other pocket. So the next thing to do is to invite Glenn back to see what he thinks of this very, very tiny junk journal. I say it's tiny, it is measurement wise, it's small, but it's still jaws. It's still jaws there, but then that's how I like it. Okay, so there we go. Whoops, pull that over. So there we go, and I'm quite pleased with that. So it'd be nice to see what you think, to see your comments, but I don't think that's bad at all. From Meccano strip, I can't remember what he called that, but from Meccano strip to junk journal. Okay, so let's bring Glenn in for his opinion. This should be really interesting, so don't go anywhere. Shut up. Right, we'll do that again.
My eyes I don't really do my eyes
just hush, hush. Right, so Glenn's here. He's been here long enough to have a coffee, and he hasn't seen this yet, and we're calling this the big reveal. So you all know what's coming, but he doesn't. Okay, so once again, there's the inspiration. So Glenn, I accepted your challenge.
Good,
and I've worked on this. I don't know how pleased I am. You can open your eyes. Good grief, what are you doing? How are you going to see it? You're sitting there with your eyes shut. Look.
For once,
Look.
I'm speechless.
No, you're never speechless. Watch. Now I've got to go back and say. So, I'm not sure how happy I am about this, okay? And I found that very difficult. And I think maybe it's because it's all geometric, same shape.
Yeah.
And I am used to, and I do like working from nature, from natural form. Having said that, there's all the work on the pylons and everything. But anyway, enough chit chat, big reveal. It's a journal.
Wow.
Okay. Now what I'll do is, I'll undo this just so you can see. Everybody's seen this apart from you. So I need to push these up here. Now I'm going to show you how this works. You see these
DNA
here? You see those?
Oh yeah.
You see that? Now this was flipped over, so we have another row here, which the button's now getting in the way, and there are two big diamonds here. And those 2 big diamonds were made by flipping these over and ending up with diamonds. And I made 2 big diamonds from it. So the black thread outlines the 2 big diamonds. And here, if I try and line these up again, you can see, where's that one? You can see here, the V's, how that fits together.
That's beautiful.
So, look.
You make it look very organic.
Don't you think so?
Yeah.
There you go.
I do.
So that is...
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's really, really... I like that.
You're not having it, but thank you for that. I'm so possessive about
What
my stuff.
what if I just leave some money when I go home?
Well, I see that you've left some money on my chair there. What's that money for? Was that a tip or... You know... Well, you left £4 there, yeah. I mean, you know, that'll get me a coffee and Costa later. Other coffee shops are available. But yeah, so, and that is all bits and pieces. You see that? Nice. That's from a little notebook, little sketchbook, if you like. And it is junk in more ways than one. You can see, look, all bits and pieces.
I should issue you challenges more often.
Well, not today, not next week, or the next year even. Look, that page is upside down, but it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
So...
I wouldn't have known unless you told me.
Oh, well, look.
All right, yeah.
Although to you, it's probably up the right way where you're sitting, isn't it?
It is up the right way.
Yeah, it's upside down on the, yeah.
On the screen it's upside down.
Because I'm sideways, it looks upside down. So there you go. Challenge accepted. That's a pocket. Look at this.
Good grief.
Yeah.
Rickenbacker.
So there we are. Challenge done and dusted.
And succeeded.
Oh, thank you.
It was beautiful.
Little pocket. So there we go. Yeah?
Yeah. Perfect. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Thank you for the challenge.
You're welcome.
I put a lot of pressure on myself for that challenge, and I don't know why. I really don't. Strange, isn't it?
It is strange.
So there we go. Thank you for following along. And as I said, if anybody else is out there, local, who wants to come and set a challenge or bring their artwork in and talk about it, please email me on the email address that will go out underneath this. Okay? So I'll speak to you all on Facebook. So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming over.